Yeah. Hmm? Hmm. రెడ్ కనబడదా? Huh? Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to Amigos IAS Academy, and also welcome to Sociology as an optional subject for Civil Services main examination. Before going to present my subject expertise on sociology, let me briefly introduce about myself. I am Professor Ganesh Chinta. In fact, I was an academician and professor at Department of Sociology, Usmania University, Hyderabad. For 35 years, I served as a professor and also as the head department of sociology, and I became the principal of University College of Arts and Social Sciences, which is one of the prestigious college in Usmania University. But apart from my academic career, I had a passion to train the students for civil services examination for the past 25 years. When as a professor in Usmania University, I was also director for a competitive examinations coaching center in Usmania University, and I was also founder director for Civil Services Academy, which we have established in Usmania University. So that means almost for the past 3 decades, I have a passion to train the students for civil services examination. For the past 25 years, I trained hundreds of students for civil services examination with sociology as an optional subject. Let me tell you that earlier, around 94, 95 up to 2000, there used to be two optionals, right? The civil services aspirant was supposed to choose two optionals, and from those days onwards, sociology was considered as one of the most prominent subject, and many students, they used to opt sociology along with other subject, and later on UPSC has shifted to a single optional system. Even after that, sociology has been one of the dominant and also most prominent subject for civil services mains examination. Why? Because it is considered as one of the scoring subject. And another important aspect is that there has been a consistency as far as scoring of marks is concerned. I told you consistency. If you look at the results of UPSC Civil Services examination for the past 3 decades, consistently every year, the candidates who have opted sociology were successful and they got good ranks. This is not an exaggeration. I don't want to just boost my subject, but this is a reality. So, sociology has been one of the prominent subject to score very good marks. And why it is scoring, I will tell you. So, with this backdrop, let me try to present my views on sociology and what exactly I am going to discuss now. I told you I have a long journey of 35 years in academics and around 30 years of my journey related to civil services examination. And many of my past students in Ashok Nagar from different institutions, wherever I taught sociology, got selection as IAS, IPS and IRS officers. And most of them are working in different parts of the country. That is my journey with the civil services examination. Now coming to the subject, what exactly I want to discuss now? I would like to focus on these aspects. Number one, why to choose sociology as an optional subject. Then another one, subject matter and significance of sociology. That means what is sociology? What exactly we try to understand as part of sociology. Then how sociology is relevant to general studies, essay writing and ethics. Why? Because most of the civil services aspirants try to relate their optional subject to general studies. Whether the content of optional subject is useful for general studies or not. Then how to score good marks in sociology. Yes, ultimately scoring good marks is very important. Then how to score good marks? What kind of tips that are required to write an effective answer and to score very good marks? Then how sociological perspective contributes to personality development. If you look at the civil services examination, you have 3 stages: preliminary examination, mains examination and ultimately interview and personality development. Whether sociological knowledge helps for personality development of the student or not, if at all it is useful, how it is useful. So these aspects now I would like to discuss. Okay. Now let me start with why to choose sociology as an optional subject. Right? Why a student has to choose sociology as an optional subject for civil services mains examination. That is the most important question, right? And generally every student think that they have to score good marks. Whatever the subject you want to take, right? You don't want to become a social scientist, right? By studying sociology, you don't want to become a sociologist, or by taking political science, you don't want to become a political scientist, right? Or by taking anthropology, you don't want to become an anthropologist, right? Definitely, your ultimate objective, ultimate goal is whether I can score very good marks with this optional subject or not. Because with my long experience, I have seen that every student think about that too, right? Whether I can score good marks or not. So then my argument is, yes, sociology is a scoring subject. So sociology is such kind of subject where a student can understand the content of the subject, number one. It is not that difficult subject. It is not that critical subject. And a student with any kind of academic background can understand sociology. Then third, it is scoring. Why I am saying with a lot of confidence that you can check with the past results. If you check the results for the past 10 years, every year you can find the students, those who have appeared civil services mains exam with sociology as an optional, of course, along with other optional subjects. Then how it is scoring? How it is scoring? I would like to tell you one thing, that as far as general studies are concerned, with my again past experience, because I was associated with many public service commissions earlier, certain confidential things I am not supposed to share here, but as a person associated with various competitive examinations across the country, as far as civil services exam is concerned, on an average, students are scoring around 110 to 125 in GS. On an average, I'm not saying, on an average, the general studies scoring is between 110 to 125. Even recently, some of the students, even they got 85, 90, still they got selection. Okay, this is one. So imagine that even if you are thorough with all the subjects, you may score around 125. Please listen to me carefully. You may score around 125 marks. So like that, in all the 5 GS papers, your scoring would be around 625. This is a level playing field, right? Every student can, on an average, they can score around 625, but that will not determine your rank. Which will determine your rank? Your scoring in optional. So the scoring in optional, if you look at the various subjects, that varies between 200 to 300. Some average students, they are getting, say in paper 1 around 110, 120, paper 2 like 100 plus. Ultimately they are ending up 220, 230 like that. So that will not fetch to get a good rank. So always I tell my students that you aim for 300 plus. Aim for 300 plus. But on an average, I could see that many students have got between 240 to 270, 280 like that. So sometimes they are getting rank, sometimes they are not getting rank. But with little effort, with a little more effort, yes, definitely you can reach up to 300. Why? Because we have done so many experiments for the past 25 years. because of that, experiments means what? Training the students in a very effective and scientific manner, so that they were able to score 300 plus marks. They were able to score around 300. Suppose imagine that if you got 300 marks, then it will become how much? 925. You just take down the statistics and look at the successful candidates' marks. Supposing if you are able to score 925, 100%, you will be selected for interview. Then, as far as interview is concerned, right, at any point of time, you have to score around 180 to 200. You have to aim. First of all, when you mentally prepare to appear for civil services exam, right, you have to set your goals. Goals with regard to what? Your scoring. How much I have to score in general studies, right? How many marks I have to score in optional, and how many marks I have to score in interview or personality test. So that kind of mental preparation is required, and accordingly you need to improve your skills. So imagine that you got 180 marks. Recently I have trained many students for personality test. Many of them, they got 175, 180, 190, like that. Those who have taken training under me. So on the whole, your marks will become how much? 1105. So if this is your scoring, definitely you will be, where you will be? At All India top 10. So this is a strategy. First of all, you should have this strategy. So you have to decide yourself that at any cost, I should score at least 125. Not that you cannot score more than 125. It's very difficult. Because I know how the answer scripts are evaluated at UPSC. It's a very tough evaluation. But if you follow a particular kind of strategy, you can score very good marks. Most of the students, they are intelligent, but they don't know how to present the answer effective manner. Would you get my point? Every student who has appeared for civil services main exam, they are definitely intelligent. They are bright students. But why they are failed? Lack of proper strategy, lack of proper presentation style. Because UPSC subject experts expect a particular kind of pattern, right? That I will train in the course of time. Okay. So my argument is that if you target for 300 or 320, always I tell that my target is to make the student to score 300 plus. That's all. And what to do? I train. And I am not exaggerating. Yes, if student follow my guidelines properly, definitely they will be closer to the 300 or 300 plus. That is possible. So definitely it is a scoring subject. Secondly, the content of sociology is very much related to general studies. How it is related to general studies, I will discuss it later. Then the knowledge of sociology is very much helpful to write an effective essay. And every year, at least one or two questions are related to the contemporary social and economic issues. So therefore, the sociological dimension, sociological perspective helps the student to write an effective answer. That's why always I tell, even for essay, nowadays students are not scoring good marks, but even earlier students used to score around 150 in essay. Even that is possible. That is possible. If you have a proper strategy of presentation of answer, yes, you can score around 150 in essay. So a consistent effort is required to score the marks, and that is possible. So therefore, I gave you 2-3 logical reasons. One is, it is not that difficult subject. Sociology is not a nuclear science, right? It is not a space technology, right? It is about human society. Everybody can understand the subject and they can present the answer in a more effective manner, provided if they have a proper training. And I take that responsibility to train the students, since it is my passion. Second, it is proved, I told you, it is proved that for the past 30 years, consistently, sociology students are scoring very good marks. In fact, there was no fluctuation. Most of the subjects, they have fluctuation. Sometimes some students get very good marks, sometimes they don't get. But as far as sociology is concerned, there was a consistency. Consistently, students are getting good marks. Around 260, 270, 280, 300, like that they are getting marks. And most of them, they got selection for services. And again I told you, you need not have a sociological background or social science background. An engineering student or a science student or a management student, anybody can understand the content of sociology very easily. Okay. So these are the strong points to choose sociology as an optional. This is my answer to the first question. Why to choose sociology as an optional subject? And I have proved, for the past 25 years, I have proved that I can tell 50-60 names who were successful with sociology under my guidance. Right? Because I am an academician, I am a professor. Right? Always I want to speak truth. I lived as an academician for the past 35 years. So therefore, I can show the evidence that how many students got selection with sociology as an optional. So that's why this is my argument, why a student has to take sociology. That is ultimately up to the student. If they are interested in any other subject, they can choose. Nothing wrong. But my only suggestion is that the student has to choose the optional in which they are interested. Your interest is very, very important. Never opt an optional subject against your interest. First of all, develop the interest. Go through the syllabus. Try to understand. If you are fully convinced that yes, with this optional subject, I can be successful in civil services exam, then you take any optional. So the self-convincing is very important to choose the optional, right? Number one. Then coming to the second point, what is sociology? Now I am coming to the point. What is sociology? Sociology is the scientific study of human society. Simply, sociology is a science to understand the society in which we are living. Mostly we try to learn, right, by looking at the society in which we live. But there are certain technical definitions for sociology, technical explanation for sociology. I said sociology is the scientific study of human society. Then sociology mainly focuses its attention on understanding and analysis of the structure and functions of society and changing trends in modern society. You see these points: structure, functions, and changing trends in modern society. Again, I want to tell you, sociology is very much concerned about the modern society, the contemporary society. Structure. Now, every society have a structure. Structure means what? Society constitute of different systems, like family system, marriage system, political system, economic system, religion. All these are the different systems that exist in society. So understanding the structure and functions, for example, take political system. What is the structure of the political system in modern society? Not only in Indian society, across the globe. And what are its functions? How political system is essential to fulfill the needs of the individuals. For example, take family system. Why family? Why it is required? For example, we talk about marriage. Why marriage? Right? Nowadays, many challenges are posed to family and marriage system. For example, if a man and woman would like to live together, is it required that they have to get married? Simply they can live together. But is it acceptable? No, it is not acceptable. So therefore, we need to discuss family, marriage, political system, economic system, religious system, right? Education system. All these systems have a specific kind of structure. Okay. And their functions. Then another one, society is not static, it is dynamic. Societies are not static, they are dynamic. So, why changes are taking place in the society? What are the factors that contribute for social change? And what are the changing trends at global level? If you look at family system, economic system, political system, right? Many rapid changes are taking place. So analyzing those changes is one of the focal point in sociology. Then another point I said, sociology also focuses on the study of social relations, social processes, social inequalities, social issues in the modern society. That means, as the student of sociology, we need to understand what kind of social relations we have, what kind of social processes we have. For example, cooperation, competition, conflict, all these are part of the society. Right? Can you imagine a society where there is no cooperation, where there is no competition, where there is no conflict? No. So we need to understand these social processes and also various social issues that arise in different parts of the world. There are various issues like poverty, unemployment, crime, discrimination. For example, racial discrimination. In Indian context, caste discrimination, gender inequalities. So like that I can mention number of issues, right, which are persisting in different parts of the world. So that means sociology is very much concerned about the understanding and analysis of the various social issues. And sociology not only study those issues but try to provide the solutions. Actually, this is the advantage for the future bureaucrats. Tomorrow, if you become an IAS officer, IPS officer, you encounter number of issues, right? Your job is not to sit in AC room, right? You have to work with the people, right? Suppose if you are an IAS officer, you need to implement the policies and programs of the government. If you are an IPS officer, maintaining the law and order is your job. Then how to understand the social relations among the people, conflict among the people, conflict between different social groups, how to resolve that? For that, sociological knowledge is very much helpful. So that's why always I tell that sociological knowledge is not only helpful to score good marks to become an IAS officer, but even after that also, as part of your bureaucratic life, sociological knowledge is useful to implement the policies and programs of the government, to resolve various types of issues that are persisting in the society, even to transform the society. If at all you want to transform the society, what kind of thinking is required? How to bring about the change in the attitude of the people? So for that, sociology is very much helpful. So this is the brief nature of sociology. So ultimately I would like to tell you that sociology is the scientific study of human society. It is a holistic understanding of the human society. That is the difference between sociology and other social sciences. Suppose if you take political science, economics, right? Psychology, those subjects focus only on particular aspect of the society. But sociology is what? It focuses on every aspect of human society. It studies about family system, it studies about economic system, it studies about political system, it studies about religion. It is a holistic understanding of human society. Okay? Then sociology discusses about the importance of the basic social institutions. Generally in sociology we use the term called basic social institutions. Institutions are nothing but different kind of systems that exist in a society. So the basic social institutions like family system, marriage system, economic system, political system, education system, religious system, for the survival and sustenance of the society. That means no society can survive and sustain without these basic social institutions. Can you imagine a society without a family system, without culture, without economy, without political system? No. So here we try to analyze the structure and functions of all these basic social institutions and their contribution for the sustenance and survival of the society. Okay? Then let me briefly discuss the focus of paper 1 and paper 2, which is very important. Okay? Now I have given a brief glance about what is sociology. I think now you got my point. Sociology is nothing but it is the scientific study of society. It is a holistic understanding and analysis of the social systems, right? Now, if you look at the syllabus related to sociology, right? There are 2 papers. You know, for every optional, there are two papers, right? Paper 1 of sociology focuses its attention on fundamentals of sociology. Paper 1 is basic fundamentals of sociology. And paper 2 is related to Indian society, structure and change. Again, I want to tell you that paper 1 is purely theoretical. Right? That means you need to understand what is sociology, what are the different research methods used in sociology, then theories of different sociologists, theories related to different systems like social stratification, economic system, political system, religion, that it is like mathematics. Understand the theory and try to present that theory. Okay. So, paper 1 is purely theoretical, and how it is advantageous I will discuss later. Then paper 2 is on Indian society, structure and change. It is purely on Indian society. So that means the paper 2 of sociology is closely associated with general studies. Most of the topics, in my view, almost 50% of the topics which we discuss in paper 2 are directly related to GS1, GS2, ethics and also essay. How I'll discuss now. First, let me briefly discuss the content of paper 1. What exactly a student is supposed to study as part of paper 1. First point, I told you, emergence of sociology as a scientific discipline. So, how sociology has emerged as a scientific discipline? What were the factors that contributed for the development of sociology as a scientific discipline? Because sociology is considered as one of the youngest social science. Okay? That's one aspect. Second, research methods developed by the sociologists for the scientific understanding of the society. Sociological knowledge is always based on empirical studies. Empirical studies. Empirical studies means what? The scientific and practical studies conducted by the sociologists. Because sociology always try to search for understanding the truth. What is truth? What is reality? That we try to understand, for which sociologists have developed certain research methods. Okay. So understanding those methods, for example, there are methods like historical method, scientific method, statistical method, comparative method. Like that, there are different methods to understand the society in a scientific way. Let me give you one example. There are conflicts between different nations, different religions, and different ethnic groups, right, in different parts of the society. First of all, why? Why conflicts arise in a given society? That is the root cause, right? Why conflict arises? There is a conflict between Russia and Ukraine, conflict between Israel and Palestine, conflict between Kukis and Meiteis, conflict between Hindus and Muslims. Why? What is the reason for conflict? Then sociology tries to analyze what could be the root cause for conflict. Because conflict as a social process exists in every society. To get my point, I am giving you this as an example. Then, for example, social and economic backwardness. Why some people are prosperous and why some people are backward? Why social and economic inequalities are persisting in the society? Why? The sociologists always pose the questions, then search for the answer. Right? Social inequalities. For example, take Indian society. Indian society is a highly stratified society where we have higher castes, middle level castes, lower castes, and higher castes are considered superior, lower castes are considered inferior. Why? Why this kind of system has emerged? What is the root cause for this? There are racial conflicts. For example, take American society. Always there is a conflict between blacks and whites. Why? Right? And why certain regions are backward, like economic backwardness. We say regional disparities. Why certain regions are prosperous and why certain regions are backward. For example, take Maharashtra. You know, Maharashtra is one of the prosperous state. But in Maharashtra, you have a Bombay and Pune, which are very rich belt, highly prosperous. Another side, you can see Vidarbha, where farmers are committing suicide. How to understand this? Tomorrow, if you are appointed as an IAS officer, as a collector of Vidarbha, what kind of initiatives you take? So first of all, we need to understand the reason or causes for the backwardness. So like that, my point is that research is very important. Sociologists have focused on evolving different research methods to understand social reality. Right? That is one aspect which we study. Then third, contribution of the sociological thinkers. Actually, this particular chapter is so important that almost 100 marks are related to only thinkers. Out of 250, 100 marks, the questions worth of 100 marks related to only thinkers. If you are thorough with the thinkers, paper 1 is over. I am not exaggerating this, because the thought, social thought of these thinkers are repeated in every chapter. And who are the important thinkers like Karl Marx, Emil Durkheim, Max Weber, Talcott Parsons, Robert K. Merton, and G.H. Mead. And these are the social thinkers who have immensely contributed to understand human society. For example, Karl Marx talked about the theory of class struggle. He talked about the nature of capitalist society. He talked about exploitation in a capitalist society. And he wanted to transform the capitalist society as a socialist society. He has visualized for a classless and stateless society where there is no inequalities, no exploitation, no suppression. Okay. Now I don't want to discuss the whole theory. But contradicting with Marx, Max Weber has discussed about other things. Max Weber was staunch supporter of capitalism, supporter of religion. You get my point. Marx was against capitalism and religion. Marx said the basic nature of the capitalism is exploitation, and religion is the opium of the masses. Religion is like a drug, which is a very big constraint for economic development. But contradicting with Marx, Max Weber says there is no alternate to the capitalism. Right? Capitalism contributes for faster economic development. And he talked about bureaucracy, a modern bureaucracy. And Weber has talked about the importance of religion in economic development. He says that religious values also contribute for economic development, and for which he has conducted a study called Protestant Ethic and Spirit of Capitalism. So all these studies, like for example, take Emil Durkheim, he talked about suicide. He has established a theory of suicide. Right? Why a person commits suicide? And he has classified the suicides into 4 types. Like egoistic suicide, altruistic suicide, anomic suicide, and fatalistic suicide. So, my point here is that all these sociologists have conducted an empirical study in different societies and established their sociological theories. So you need to understand the sociological theories of all these social thinkers. If you are able to understand the theory, that's enough. Because most of the questions are related to these sociological theories. But sometimes its application, whether it is relevant or not, that of course I will discuss in the class. For example, many times questions were asked that, do you think that Marxian theory is relevant to the contemporary developing societies? So first of all, you know what is Marxian theory, then you can analyze whether it is relevant or not. That we will discuss in the class. Okay, so this is another component. Then coming to other important aspect is understanding the concepts of social inequality, social stratification, social mobility, and theories of social stratification. Here I would like to tell you that there is no society on the earth which is unstratified. Unstratified. Here stratification means what? Division of society into different social groups and arranging them in a hierarchical order. That is called stratification. Right? Can you imagine a society where there is no inequality? Right? For example, in Indian context, according to Constitution of India, all are equal. Do you think that all are equal? All are never equal. Right? There are inequalities in various forms. We have racial inequality. Even if you go to American society, there is an inequality between blacks and whites. Religious inequality. There is a conflict between different religious groups. Gender inequality. Most of the societies are patriarchal societies where men are considered superior to women. Right? So, we need to discuss about the inequalities in different societies and theories related to inequality. Why inequality emerge? What are the dimensions of inequality? What are the causal factors for inequality? And there are certain theories which we will discuss. Again, same Weber's theory, Parsons' theory. These thinkers are very important. Okay? Then understanding economic system in modern industrial capitalist society. That's what I told you. Sociology is not just about society, but it is also about economic system, political system, religious system, right? So we don't study economic system as a whole, but how economics, what kind of economic system we have, right? And how economy play an important role in the social life of the individual. Then here, understanding the economic system in modern industrial capitalist society. That means evolution of economy and different types of economic systems, more specifically industrial economy, capitalist economy, right? Then we also discuss about understanding the concepts of power, authority, bureaucracy, nation, state, democracy, citizenship, political parties, ideology, civil society, social movements, power elite, pressure groups. All these are part of the political system. Each one is a different concept. To get my point. For example, we talk about democracy, right? We talk about democracy, right? What is democracy? What is democracy? So we need to discuss the concept of democracy. And we need to discuss the types of democracy. And how democracy is different from totalitarianism or dictatorship. Like that, there are different concepts like power and authority. In every society we have a power and authority. According to sociologists, authority is three types. Charismatic authority, then legal rational authority, and traditional authority. Like how authority has been defined. Then there are many theories of power, right? Theories of power. And we have elite theory. For example, take any society, take Indian society for example. Why only richer sections of the society become the part of the political system? Right? Why the political elite are mostly from the higher caste, are mostly from higher economic class? Why? Okay. Whether there is any relationship between religion and politics, whether there is any relationship between caste and politics, like many issues related to the politics we study. But all these are the concepts just to make you to understand what are the concepts that we are going to discuss as part of sociology I have mentioned here. Then understanding and analysis of sociological theories of power and state. I told you there are different theories like Marx theory. What Marx has talked about the state and power. What Max Weber talked about power and state. Like that there are different theories. Then understanding and analysis of the concepts associated with religion and sociological theories of religion. Almost every society is guided by, right, either religion or religious like systems. We can't imagine a society without a religion. Even if you go to primitive society, they also have their own primitive religion. Modern societies, they have their own modern religions. But how religion play an important role in modern society? Whether the importance of religion or significance of religion is increasing or declining. Then analysis of the structure, functions and types of family, marriage system, changing trends in family and marriage systems in contemporary modern societies. This is very, very important topic. Right? What is meant by family system, marriage system, and what are the main challenges for family and marriage system? Let me give you one or two examples. Generally, family means what? Family is a social group which constitute of the consanguineous and affinal kins. That is a technical definition. Consanguineous kins means those who are related by blood. Affinal kins, those who are related by marriage. So, family means what? Wife, husband and their children. That's family. Okay. Then marriage. Marriage is a social bond between a man and woman which is legally and socially recognized. Right? That means a socially and legally recognized relationship between a man and woman. Okay? But now the challenge is live-in relationship. It's a big challenge. Now we have to, as a sociologist, we have to discuss about that. live-in relationship. In many Western societies, now they say that why to marry? So if a man and woman are interested to live together, yes, they can live together. That's all. If they are not interested, they can be separated. Live-in relationship. It's a big challenge to the family system. Then another one is now increasing divorce rate. Now the legal systems became so liberal that in many Western societies the divorce rate has gone to the extent of 50 to 60%. So because of that increasing divorce rate, the new type of family system is emerging, that is called single parent families. That is emerging trend, single parent family. That means a child is either living with mother or with father. Then another thing is gay marriages. Gay marriages. Generally, marriage is heterosexual. Marriage means what? Naturally, it is between a man and woman are supposed to get married. But now, gay marriages, it's a big challenge, and gay marriages are recognized in many societies. Then another thing, giving birth to a child. Generally it is considered as a sacred thing, especially in Indian context. But now surrogacy is emerging. Surrogacy, what is surrogacy? Taking the womb of the mother for rent to give birth to a child. These all are challenges. So interestingly, we discuss about various aspects. Now, whether we need to have family and marriage system or not, it's argument. So like that, we have to discuss many things related to family, marriage, religion, economy, polity. Many things we discuss. Okay. Then critical analysis of the social change in modern society. Analysis of sociological theories of social change and the factors responsible for social change. I told you, society is not static, society is dynamic. Right? Every society undergoes change in the course of time. For example, take Indian society. What India today is totally different from what India was in 1940s and 50s. Right? 1940s and 50s, India was one of the backward country. But today it is considered as one of the powerful country in the world. Right? It is said that the coming days, India is going to emerge as third largest economy in the world. And India is able to provide the leadership to G20 countries. We have so much of technology. It's all fine. But other side, you have to look at other side also. There is so much of poverty, unemployment, gender inequality, violence against women, caste conflicts. Good man. Other side, it's a glorious part of the society. But as a sociologist, you have to see both. Look at the tribes. The women die at the time of giving birth to a child because of lack of proper healthcare facilities, malnutrition. Still, infant mortality rate is very high. Maternal mortality rate is very high. So these two dimensions we try to understand. This kind of knowledge will help you not only to become a IAS officer, but to become a good IAS officer. Right? Because you can understand the society in which we are living. So whatever the points I have discussed, they are directly related to examination. They are directly, I have identified the topics in such a way that which are directly related to examination. Now you please note down, 100% questions will be asked related to these topics which I have discussed related to paper 1. Okay. Then coming to focus of paper 2, let me quickly discuss about paper 2. You know, paper 2 is completely related to Indian society, right? It is completely related to Indian society. Then generally we begin with perspectives on the study of Indian society. In this context, I would like to tell you that Indian society is a highly diversified society, right? Highly diversified society. Indian society is not a homogeneous society. You know, today India is a most populous country in the world, right? With almost 142 crore population. But Indian population is a very diversified population. So the diversity in terms of what? Diversity in terms of race, caste, religion, culture and language. You get my point. There are around 1652 languages in India. Right? Officially we know only 22 languages. And even if you look at the racial features, look at from Jammu and Kashmir to Kerala, the physical features are not uniform. We have Caucasoid features, Mongoloid features, Negroid features, all features could be seen in Indian population. So my point is that we need to understand the racial, linguistic, religious and caste diversities in India. So that is why Indian society has been studied by many sociologists, both Indian and Western sociologists. So therefore, we begin with perspectives on the study of Indian society. Broadly, there are 3 perspectives: Indological perspective, structural functional perspective and Marxist perspective. So the perspective helps us to understand the reality. Do you get my point? Apart from this, there are other perspectives also, like subaltern perspective, feminist perspective. For example, gender inequality is one of the problem in Indian society. Okay. So if at all we want to understand the issues of women, I am giving you this as an example. If at all we need to understand the problems of women, we need to study the problems of women from the point of view of women. Again, I am from the point of view of women, specifically by the women. You get my point. Why? Because again, though men and women live in the same society, their experiences are different. There is one popular feminist called Anne Oakley. I will discuss about that theory. Anne Oakley, a popular feminist. She says that the experiences of women in any society are different from the experiences of men. Right? And in every society there is so much of discrimination, oppression, right? Suppression against women. And recently we are talking about glass ceiling. You know, glass ceiling means what? In many organizations, though women have the abilities, efficiency, but women are not given top positions. Deliberately they are put aside. So like that, to understand the problems of women, what perspective is required? A feminist perspective is required. Similarly, take subaltern perspective. Subaltern perspective is nothing but study of the issues of the people at bottom level. For example, take Dalits, scheduled castes. If you want to understand the problems of the scheduled caste, you need to understand from their point of view. Then only you can understand the social reality, how they suffer, and what kind of solutions we can offer. So like that, perspective is very important. How you look at that issue, with what mindset, with what attitude you are looking at an issue, that is very important. So that is why paper 2 begins with the perspectives. Then, you know, Indian society constitute of rural society, urban society and tribal society. Again, this is one of the advantage for sociology students. Sociology students get an in-depth understanding on rural society, urban society and tribal society. And the structure, functions and issues related to these three societies are different. For example, when you talk about rural society, first you need to understand agrarian social structure. In fact, Indian economy still considered as an agrarian economy, because even today around 70% of our workforce depend upon agriculture and allied activities. Land is the main source of income for majority of the people. Around 67% of the population still lives in villages. So therefore, Indian society is still considered as an agrarian society. So what kind of economic system we have in rural areas? Then another one, land tenure system. Especially during British regime, different types of land tenure systems were introduced, like Jamindari system, Jagirdari system, Raitwari system, that we have to discuss. Then in order to bring about change in agrarian social structure, land reforms were initiated in different states, land reforms, which is very important. The same topic you can see in GS2, land reforms. Okay. What are the objectives of land reforms? Why land reforms? Whether land reforms are implemented effectively or not. What are the consequences of land reforms? Whether land reforms are successful or failure. If at all they are failed, why? What are the reasons for that? So a critical evaluation of land reforms is required. Then caste system, which is very important aspect. No, without understanding caste system, you cannot understand Indian society. Anybody, whether a politician or a bureaucrat or an academician or any foreign visitor, if they want to understand Indian society, first of all they have to understand caste system. Why? Because caste system is very much related to our social relations, our occupations, our economic system, our political system, our religion, everything is related to caste system. So we discuss the characteristics of caste system, caste dynamics, caste conflicts and changes in the caste system. All these aspects we discuss in paper 2. Then social and economic issues in rural society. There are several issues in Indian rural society. For example, poverty, agricultural labor, right? Then unemployment, social inequalities, untouchability. Like I can give a big list of issues, right, which are persisting in Indian society, especially rural society. So we discuss some important issues, like for example, child labor, right? Child labor is still prevalent in Indian villages, okay? Then like tribal society, we discuss about tribal society, like geographical distribution of tribal communities. According to Article 342 of Indian Constitution, around 744 tribes have been identified by Government of India. You know, Article 342 related to what? Tribes in India. So how the tribes are distributed in different parts of the country, and what are their problems, right? So we discuss social, economic and political issues related to tribes, tribal unrest in India. There is so much of unrest in India among tribal communities. That is why there were several tribal revolts, right? For example, Santal revolt, Munda revolt, Bill revolt. There were several tribal revolts. Why? Then policies and programs to solve the problems of tribes. During the post-independent period, Government of India has come out with a national policy for tribes. And Government of India has initiated several welfare schemes for the benefit of tribes. Okay, so we discuss about the tribal community, their problems, policies and programs related to the tribes. Then urban society. We also discuss about urban society, like industrialization and urbanization in India, informal sector in urban society, child labor, urban slums, social issues in urban society, even environmental degradation, environmental pollution. There are many issues related to urban society which we discuss as part of paper 2. Then family, marriage and kinship in India. Already I told you, sociology means we have to study about family, marriage, kinship, religion, economy, polity. So there is a slight difference between paper 1 and paper 2 as far as these topics are concerned. In paper 1 we discuss family and marriage system at global level, right? And global trends. But here we discuss about family and marriage system in Indian society and also trends in Indian context. I told you, certain Western or global trends are intruding into Indian society. And what kind of trends that are intruding into Indian society and how they are trying to modify the family structure or marriage system in Indian society. All that we will discuss. Then agriculture and rural development. Already I told you, Indian economy is basically an agrarian economy, though there is so much of industrialization and urbanization. So there are issues like green revolution, which is very, very important topic, which is directly related to your general studies. In fact, green revolution has brought revolutionary changes in agriculture sector. But from sociological point of view, what we have to discuss, not just positive changes, but there are also negative consequences or social consequences of green revolution. Right? Basically, green revolution means what? Green revolution as a package program includes what? Use of high yielding variety seeds, scientific inputs like chemical fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, then farm technology. And green revolution demands assured irrigation facility, soil fertility, that means fertile soil. These are the preconditions required for green revolution. That is why green revolution was not successful everywhere. Only in few states, few areas, green revolution was successful. But one of the positive impact of green revolution was that is increasing food grain production. Let me tell you here, green revolution was initiated in 1967. Around 1965-66, food grain production in India was around 80 million tons. Sometimes for some topics, statistics are very important. Right? 80 million tons, which was insufficient to meet the food requirements of the people. But because of Green Revolution today, food grain production is more than 350 million tons. 350 million tons. Then our agricultural scientist says that maybe in coming few years, our food grain production will reach to 400 million tons. Earlier we used to import food grains. Now we can export food grains. That is the positive side of Green Revolution. But Green Revolution has resulted into several social consequences. Like what? Regional disparities. Regional disparities. Because of Green Revolution, certain regions have prospered like anything and others are remained backward. For example, take Andhra. Coastal Andhra prospered because of Green Revolution. Rayalaseema remained backward and some parts of Telangana remained backward. Okay? Take Maharashtra. Bombay Pune belt prospered. Vidarbha remained backward. Take UP. Western UP prospered. Eastern UP still backward. So like that, my point is that there are certain social consequences. There are many social consequences. We will discuss as in the class, but I am giving you this as an example. So like that, a student of sociology need to understand each topic in a very critical manner, both positive and negative aspects. Okay. Then there are topics like changing modes of production in Indian agriculture. Then what are the social consequences? For example, after Green Revolution, right, there is excess use of farm technology. So the whole mode of production has undergone change. What is the net result? Net result is the agricultural laborers are forced to migrate from rural areas to urban areas. So that is why there is heavy influx of population from rural to urban. In 2024, one question was asked, why there is a heavy influx of population from rural to urban areas? Why? Okay. So that's one. Then problems of agricultural labor. Rural development programs. You know, in order to bring about a social and economic transformation in rural society, Government of India introduced several development programs. Let me tell you few. In 1978-79 IRDP, Integrated Rural Development Program. Later on it was restructured and renamed as Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana, SGSY. Again in 2011 it is restructured and renamed as NRLM, National Rural Livelihoods Mission. And later on another scheme in 2005 and 6, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. Now government introduced another scheme called Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushalya Yojana, Pradhana Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Like there are many schemes, and we will discuss about all important schemes related to rural development and their impact on rural, social and economic life. And in fact, these kind of topics are very much related even for your prelims. Most of the time, at least 2-3 questions are related to the welfare schemes. Some questions are asked related to policies of Government of India. So this kind of discussion will help you for prelims also. So then poverty alleviation schemes. Then politics and society. Here we discuss nation, democracy and citizenship. Okay, what kind of democratic system we have, right? What kind of nation we have. Then political parties and pressure groups, their ideology, regionalism and secularism. These are the most important issues. Many times questions were asked related to regionalism and secularism in general studies, GS1. Why regional tendencies are increasing in Indian society? Right? You know, India has experienced several regional movements, starting from self-respect movement in Tamil Nadu, then Khalistan movement in Punjab, JKLF movement in Jammu and Kashmir, Telangana movement in Andhra Pradesh, right? Now Vidarbha movement, Jharkhand movement, Gorkhaland movement, right? Then Harit Pradesh movement. Still these regional movements are going on in different parts of the country. So how to look at this issue? Whether regionalism is a threat for national integration or it helps for the faster economic development. How to look at regionalism? Then similarly, secularism. Whether India is a secular state or not. Whether we are secular or not. Definitely we are secular. Why? Because according to Indian Constitution, the term secular is included in the preamble of our Indian Constitution. But what are the challenges to secularism? Right? We are all secular, no doubt. But we have communal conflicts, we have caste conflicts, we have regional conflicts. All these are the challenges to secularism. So understanding these issues, and all these are very much related to general studies. Then social movements, which is again very important. Indian society has experienced several movements for the past 100 years. I would like to tell you that where there is an issue, there will be agitation. And agitation will result into movement. Right? If there is an issue, right, people are mobilized around that issue, then they begin an agitation. That any kind of agitation. But agitation result into a social movement. So India has experienced different movements. We discuss about all these movements. Peasants and farmers movements. And the latest movements. Recently you might have seen that Punjab and Haryana farmers movement. Farmers have agitated against government of India. And they have come out with different demands. So like that, peasants and farmers movements, women's movements, backward classes and Dalit movements, environmental movements, ethnicity and identity movements. For example, in Manipur recently we have witnessed the Kuki-Meitei conflict. Right? You know, Kuki and Meitei, these are the two tribes in Manipur. Even there is a continuous conflict between them. Then Bodo land movement, Gorkha land movement. All these are ethnic movements. Khasi movement in Meghalaya, Naga movement in Nagaland. All these movements we discuss. Okay? Then population dynamics. This is straight away linked to general studies. Again, GS1 and also essay. Why? Because now, especially for this year, it is very important. Today, India is the most populous country in the world with 142 crore population. So here the debate is whether population is an asset or a burden for Indian economy. how to look at the population, right? Now we are very proud that we have so much of population. Is it true or not? But how to look at this population? And economists have talked about demographic dividend. They say that India is having a large number of youth population. So this youth population is an asset for economic development of this country. Okay, that is why our Prime Minister says that by 2047, India is going to emerge as a developed nation. What is that? Yes, Vision Viksit Bharat. What is that Vision Viksit Bharat? Then what are the challenges? It's not that easy, right? Just mere having 142 crore population is not sufficient to emerge as a developed nation. What are the challenges? And there are many issues related to population. For example, take sex ratio, child sex ratio. Day by day, the women population is decreasing when compared to the male population. The child sex ratio is declining. For example, take the states like Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra. The female child population is declining because of various reasons. Female feticide has increased very much. So like that, there are many issues related to population which we discuss. And at the end, what are the challenges of social transformation? Right? Today, India faces several challenges. Challenges are in the form of what? Crisis of development and displacement. For the past 70 years, several development projects have been initiated. Right? We have got big irrigation projects, power projects, steel plants, coal mines. This is a positive side. All these development projects resulted into faster economic development in the country. But another side, all these development projects have displaced millions of people. Millions of people have become the victims of displacement. So, whether we have a proper rehabilitation and resettlement policy or not. So, how to understand the issues related to displacement? Like other issues, environmental problems, poverty and social inequalities, and most importantly, violence against women, which is very important. If you go by the National Crime Records Bureau that publishes the data, statistical data every year, the violence against women is increasing very much in Indian villages. The crime against women is in the form of rape, murder, abduction, dowry deaths, right? There are different forms of violence, and domestic violence is increasing very much, and all that we need to discuss. Then caste conflicts, communalism, ethnic conflicts, all these are the issues. They are not only issues, they are the major challenges for Indian society. So most of these topics, whatever I have discussed so far, they are very much related to general studies. That's what I want to tell you. Almost more than 50% of these topics related to general studies. Then these topics are also related to essay, because all these are the burning issues. Definitely at least one or two questions will be asked with regard to these issues of Indian society. Okay. Then how to score good marks? This is your doubt. Every student asks that, sir, we will get good marks or not. Yes, always I tell you can score very good marks, provided if you concentrate on the subject, right? For any optional, whether it is political science, sociology or anthropology, whatever it is, what is required? A student must be serious about the subject. They must read, they must write, they must practice regularly, that answer writing practice, and that will help them to score good marks. Of course, there are many tips. Since it is an introductory class, I cannot share everything. But I want to tell certain things, that what to do to score good marks. First of all, understanding the basic concepts in sociology is important. If at all you take sociology and optional, understand the concepts which we discuss in the class. Understand it carefully. For every topic, I will provide the notes. Detailed notes will be provided. Then understanding the theoretical contributions of all these thinkers. I told you in paper 1, if you are able to understand the theory of all these thinkers, that's taken care of. You will get command over paper 1. Then analysis of the content of sociological theories. Analyzing Marxian theory, Weber's theory, and relating it to modern society. That is done in the class. Then application of sociological theories to the modern society. Just now I told you, Max Weber talked about bureaucracy. Tomorrow a question may be asked that, do you think that Weber's theory of bureaucracy is relevant to the modern Indian governance? Then how to write the answer? That we discuss in the class. And you have to write the answer by understanding the subject. Okay. So this is then critical analysis of the relevance or non-relevance of the sociological theories, perspectives of social thinkers to the contemporary societies. Again and again I want to tell you that every student must have a critical perspective. You try to understand positive as well as the negative. Right? Any issue we need to understand with a positive perspective and also negative perspective. Then only you can come out with a logical answer. Always I tell, mere writing answer is not sufficient. Writing a logical answer, a convincing answer, a scientific answer is very important to score good marks. So that analytical skill is very important. Then comparative analysis of sociological thought of various social thinkers, especially in paper 1, the comparison between Marx and Weber, or Weber and Durkheim, right, or Merton and Parsons, like comparative kind of questions are asked. Then how to compare and how to pick up important points. Okay, that is required. Then understanding the structure and issues of Indian society and challenges to the contemporary Indian society. You need to understand every topic, whatever the topics I have discussed, you need to understand those topics carefully, read the notes, and again you write it on your own. Okay. Then continuous practice of writing answers by using sociological language and terminology. Generally, my teaching methodology include discussion in the class, right? Then providing notes. Generally, I discuss every topic by using PPTs. PPT is nothing but a detailed notes, and they are answer to the question. I am discussing one topic means the content of that discussion directly related to the question and answer. So only thing is that you have to read again and again, write on your own, because writing practice is very important. Ultimately, you have to write answer in the examination, right? So lot of writing practice is required. Then I give question papers. Unit wise question papers I give. So students are supposed to write the answers to those questions. Then I will personally evaluate, because I am an academician, I am telling you. I know how UPSC evaluation is done. So keeping the UPSC standards in view, I evaluate your answer scripts and I will give you feedback. And it is very, very difficult to score more than 50% marks in my evaluation. If you are able to score, I am telling with lot of confidence, if you are able to score 50% plus marks in my evaluation, 100% you will get selection. Why I am saying that? My evaluation is very tough. Sometimes you may get 30% marks, 40% marks. There is no need to disappoint. You have to improve. I will give you feedback. Why? Because this makes you perfect to present your answer, right? I don't want to please anybody, but I want to make them perfect. To get my point. If I am not able to pinpoint your weakness, right, you cannot strengthen your subject knowledge. That is why always I give a very truthful feedback, which will help the student to enhance their subject knowledge. So a consistent answer writing practice is very important. Another thing is picking up sociological language. While teaching, you can understand which kind of terminology I am using. Okay. So these are the things which are essential to score good marks. And building a logical and scientific argument by quoting certain empirical studies and drawing a logical conclusion. Right? Always you have to build an argument. That argument must be logical. Just now I told you, say, take regionalism, right? Why regional tendencies are increasing in Indian society? Do you support regionalism? Then you have to build an argument, whether you support regionalism or oppose it. If you support, what are the advantages? So building a logical argument is very important. Then presentation of answers in a logical order. This is again very important. In UPSC evaluation, the subject experts look for certain things. Number one, whether you have given a proper introduction or not. Introduction, then analysis. A proper analysis related to the question. Then building logical argument with empirical studies or evidences. Then logical conclusion with most appropriate suggestions or solutions. So your writing style is very important. Your writing style must be so impressive that examiner should feel that yes, the student have in-depth understanding over that topic. So that kind of impression you have to create by writing an answer in a most effective manner. Okay, so that is why the structure of your answer is also very important. For each question you have to create a specific kind of structure of your answer. That makes you successful. Then presentation of answer in a decent academic language. Decent academic language, present the answers in a descriptive and analytical form and in paragraphs. This is again very important. Many times students were misguided. You write the answer with bullet points. UPSC examination expect a descriptive and analytical form of answers. It is not a examination where you are supposed to write answers in bullet forms. No. Many students were misguided and they were failed miserably, though they have sufficient knowledge. Always try to present the answer in what? Descriptive form, in paragraphs. And you can put points. Sometimes you can put subheadings. For example, factors responsible for regionalism. You can write historical factors, you have to analyze. Economic factors, analyze. Political factors. So you can put subheading, but analyze in a descriptive way. So such kind of answer writing practice is very important. Then how sociology is relevant to the general studies, essay and ethics. Let me quickly tell you, already we have discussed. There are many topics which are directly related to general studies. GS1 and GS2. If you look at the syllabus of GS1, there are topics like salient features of Indian society, communalism, regionalism, secularism, effects of globalization on Indian society, poverty, urbanization, all such kind of topics directly related to sociology. So the sociological perspective, sociological dimension helps you to present a most effective answer related to GS1 and GS2. All these points are related to that only. Then it is also related to ethics. You know, basically ethics is a paper which mainly focuses on how moral values are important for an administrator and how to inculcate the moral values in the minds of the youth. Right? So, while analyzing that, the sociological dimension helps you to write an effective answer with regard to the role of family in inculcating ethical values, role of religion in inculcating ethical values, role of educational institutions in inculcating moral values, then transparency in administration, probity in governance. So like that, there are many topics which can be best explained with sociological dimension. Even the social thought of social thinkers are also helpful to write a better answer for ethics. And lastly, essay writing. Repeatedly, I used to tell that every year at least one or two topics are related to the social and economic issues, either related to global society or related to Indian society. So the whole knowledge on global society as well as Indian society helps you to write a most effective essay. And to score good marks in essay, lot of writing practice is required. You have to identify certain contemporary relevant topics, write the answers, right, and get the feedback from the subject experts like me. It's like that, capacity building is very, very important. You have to build your capacity, right? What today, you are something different, right? But after 6 months, you have to be altogether a different person. To get my point. Once you attend the classes, you have to transform yourself intellectually. That's what I used to tell. The coaching program shall bring about an intellectual transformation among the students. Maybe after 6 months, right? Your knowledge level, your analytical skills, understanding of the subject, your presentation skills need to be improved. So that definitely you will be successful students in future. Okay. So these are some of the important aspects which I wanted to discuss with you. Then at the end, I would like to state that the current trend, the current UPSC trend is that UPSC question paper trend, not UPSC question paper trend is that it is mainly focusing on the contemporary relevant topics related to global society, Indian society, Indian economy, Indian political system, then international affairs, international relations, then security issues, right? And advancement in science and technology. Generally, these are the topics on which the questions are framed. That is why my suggestion is that you please focus on the contemporary topics. Okay, anything. For example, take security issues. Recently, we have experienced the Pahalgam issue. Then how to relate it to security challenge? So what are the challenges for national security in India? Then how to look at a global terrorism? What kind of solutions we can offer to global terrorism? And what are the internal threats and what are the external threats? Similarly, India's leadership in economy, like G20 summit, BRICS summit, then leadership for global south, our international relations, then economic warfare, no? Trade warfare is going on now, no? Tariff warfare, especially that initiated by USA. So all such kind of issues you need to analyze in a very logical manner, and that actually strengthen your subject knowledge. So at the end, I would like to state that definitely sociology is considered as one of the scoring subject, and it is very much related to general studies, essay writing and ethics. And if the student put sincere and consistent effort, they can score 300 plus marks. Always I used to tell, target 300. You have to always aim that at any cost I should score 300 plus, and in that direction you have to work hard, and I will guide you if at all you opt sociology as an optional, and I try my level best to make you successful, because I have done that for the past 25 years, and same thing I continue to do it to help the students to score good marks. Okay, then wish you all the best. God bless you. Any questions? Any one or two questions? If you have, you can ask in any language, no problem. English or Telugu, you can ask. I can clarify. One or two questions. Anybody? No questions? Okay. Are you able to understand what exactly I have discussed? Is it clear? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.